winter's upon us again, which means new ski season. New tractor, some new buildings and new siding, but most importantly, what I'm tripping through right now is some new snow. Nice and deep, got lots of it. About a week ago we had absolutely nothing. So now we gotta get out and start grooming. There's another shot of the new building there. Everybody who watched the chalet teardown will remember that there was the old log building there. That is the replacement. So now I'm just headed over to the garage, get the groomer started up, and hit the hill and start working with this snow. Now, normally this isn't prime conditions because we got it all at once. Usually it's nice to get some snow we can groom over, get a base, get some more snow, groom over it again. So it's going to be an interesting day to see how things turn out. So it's time to get the groomer started. Greg's behind me. We're going to run through the procedures of how to do our circle check and then to start it up. This is the machine that Greg usually operates, so I'll explain while Greg goes through the motions. One big difference though between the two is on this machine, it is a hydraulic and hydrostatic system. The hydrostatics run the tiller, the spinning part of the tiller, and the running gear, whereas the hydraulics run the upwards and downwards movement of the tiller plus the blade at the front, whereas with the other machine, it is all hydrostatic, it runs the whole thing. So somebody had asked a little while ago about what the procedure is to start this machine up, so we're gonna run through it right now. So I guess first thing is, gotta check our hydrostatic fluid, which is in here. Hard to see on the camera, it's at about what, halfway? But once the machine starts running, then the level comes up a little bit more. Gotta check hydraulic fluid right there, which is about what, halfway. That's good though, right? Because it raises.
It'll raise as the fluid warms up.
Got to pull the battery off of the battery tenders. I'll hold this light here. These machines have been sitting since last spring, and these batteries aren't cheap, so make sure to trickle charge them. Which one are you doing next, Greg?
The engine oil. Looks full. And it's full.
What's this one again?
The splitter box, where all the gear pumps, the hydraulic pumps mount to. It's right here. And it is full.
And then the last thing to do, even though you can never really tell, is to check the coolant. Hard to see in there, but
yeah, it's only down about 4 inches or so.
So we're good. So another thing we usually do too is the whole machine's been greased prior to this, and then also check the tire pressure because there are tubes in the tires on this one. All of that has already been done too. It has to be up at 100 PSI. They're all covered. We checked. There's none that are weather checked or ready to burst or any of that sort of stuff. So we should be good there. So the next step up, Greg just has to grease a couple of spots on the tiller itself. So we'll run through starting up the machine. He'll raise the tiller up. We'll get that done. Then we'll run over to the other one, go through that, and get started with the day. All right, so with this system, there's actually two parts. You have to turn on the electrical system with that red key there.
The battery disconnect.
Now, quickly run over the controls here. So that's the stick to control your blade. This, I don't even remember half this stuff anymore.
That's for the tiller. Up and then down with down pressure, down with float. This is tiller forward and reverse. Drum speed on the tiller. This is all weight controls and the kind of stuff.
This is the brake system. So one of the most important things about this is if you try to open the doors without the brakes on, an alarm goes off, then the chances of you ever getting out and getting hurt are extremely slim. So basically it's just a key, right? Oh, and this here, that is your RPMs.
Yeah. And this is the joysticks, right track, left track. It's hydrostatic.
All right, so away we go.
So I'll turn the key on, give it about 10 seconds, prime the pumps, and away we go. Start you doing this.
Yeah, it's just kind of coming out the back a bit. You can see along here too. Might have to get this guy rebuilt. Teeth are getting pretty beat up and worn.
There we go.
So on this machine, it's the same story. You can see, you can see there's a...
Might need a little touch up.
Yeah, it's low-ish in there. So this, same story. Trickle chargers on this for a couple months because we don't want to have to buy new batteries every year. On this one, as far as the fluid and stuff like that goes, this is much easier to tell because down in here, there's a sight gauge. So we're nice and full on coolant there. There's no having to just eyeball it and hope that you have enough. Then we go to the other side. Oil is here. Probably could use a change at some point. That's pretty black, eh? And we're good. Okay, so this is similar but different. So where Greg had the sticks between his leg, the sticks to control the machine are on an armrest here. This armrest has got to be down, otherwise the machine will not move. Controls for everything, tiller, blade, up and down movement of the tiller, all that sort of stuff is all controlled through this part here. And then basically we've got all our other controls here. Wiper blades, parking brake, same thing applies. Everything has to be on, otherwise the machine will not move and it'll scream at you if you open the door. There are some extra bits and pieces over here from when the winch was on it. So on a machine that didn't have a winch, you wouldn't normally see any of this stuff. So it's just a one key system. Turn it on. And then what we have to do is wait for this hourglass to go away because it's booting up, what is it? It's the computer, right?
Yeah.
This usually takes a good 30 seconds or so. Actually, it can take upwards of a minute. There we go. Oh. There we go.
We'll have to prime the primer bulb.
We'll have to prime the diesel filter.
There's a little hand pump at the filter. We have to prime it. It hasn't been ran in a while.
So that's what we're gonna do now.
Just air. Yeah. There's no diesel there. It's coming. I can hear it.
That's a lot of air in that system.
It's pretty stiff there now.
All right. We'll go for round two. So what had happened was that the groomer had sat for 9 months or something like that. We ran it the other day just to move things around in here, and it was work on the tiller or something like that. And so probably just ran off of the fuel on the filter and then ran out of fuel after that. So we'll try again. There we go. Success. Much better. So you can see it's drifted here some, but that's quite a bit of snow. It's kind of a fluffy snow. It's not, it needs to be a little bit wetter to pack it tight. We're gonna go over and fuel up first, and then we'll get at it and see how things turn out. You can see how light the snow is just by the way Greg's tracks are turning it up. Sinking right down. One of the issues that you have every year around this place when you first start is all these little bits and pieces of leftover grass and stuff like that. So once we run over them, they should disappear. If you look out the back, surprisingly, it's coming out not too bad considering the quality of the snow that we've got. What Greg ended up doing was he backed up. He didn't, obviously he's not running his tiller or anything like that. Came from way down at that point there. Right back up. That way it's a little bit better in terms of traction. Move the snow around a little bit and it's packed it down and there's less chance that he can slide when he's coming down. So you can see too, it's still pretty deep here, knee deep. I'm not a tall guy, so my shins aren't that long, but he's coming now. I'll do a pass down here. One of the things that was super interesting about our tow line years ago was it was probably about as wide as a snow machine. So the way that we used to groom it was a snow machine with a pull behind, like a little tiny groomer. It was tough to get it flat because there were just so many bumps and all that sort of stuff. So years ago we were really lucky, we got some funding, and one of the things we did was we basically turned the tow line into a road. A bunch of rock trucks came through, dozers, excavators, all that sort of stuff. So you can actually drive a truck up or down, which we've done. It's really steep at the top. It's not a lot of fun to do. It's kind of scary amusement park ride, but what a huge difference. The fact that the goal had always been to drive a groomer down it, and now that we can, that's pretty cool. So when he's got it, the mat just misses that tower. That's some good driving. We're pretty lucky to have Greg because Greg is an excellent operator. I don't know how many years he's been doing it for now. 4 or 5, I think. All right. Back in the car. So this whole area here used to be a lot steeper with a big divot. We got it fixed this summer. One thing that we like to do is we try to groom up instead of groom down. It tends to keep the snow on the hill a little bit better. What I'm going to do here, because it's super deep, is I'm just going to raise my tiller and I'm going to drive up it just with the tracks to pack it some, because the tiller creates a tremendous amount of drag. One of the things about grooming that's no fun are things like this sneaky tree over here. We don't know how big it is, but we can't get our line groomed unless we move it. I don't know if we can move it by hand or if Jeff's got to come back up and chop it up later and throw it in the bush, but we're gonna go we're gonna go have a look and see where we're at. If we can move it, that'd be great. Another thing too is, you can see with my footprints here, this really needs to firm up. The snow's pretty steep. I'm walking on an area here that we already groomed and I'm not going through quite as bad because it was done earlier, so it is starting to set, but it's there's still a lot of snow there. Woo. Oh yeah, it's looking like a big tree. Frozen in? Yeah. This guy here. No, that guy's frozen in too, I think. Oh, There's one piece. So that probably fell down just before it snowed. That's what we think, because the hill's already been run all over and looked at before it did snow to see where things are at. So we'll just leave that, deal with it later. Not a big deal. I'll just drive around it. Now it's the long climb back. Okay, so we're heading on to Espresso now. Now this is probably the run that's used the most at the hill. And what Greg's gonna do is he's gonna go down and do a line, and I'm gonna go down kind of offset behind him. So I'm gonna kind of keep my passenger side track and his driver's side track. Now it's funny to think years ago when we first took over the hill, or the group that's involved now got involved in running the hill, we had the Groomer in front of us, and that was it. And it was hanging by a thread back then. So a lot of TLC to keep it running in good shape. So it's a pretty cool experience that after all these years and a lot of hard work that we're able to run these two machines simultaneously on the hill. It's definitely something I never thought would happen. So Greg's coming up on what I would say is the steepest part of the hill. You watch when he goes down it. It's a little bump, that's it. And right down he goes. It's crazy. You gotta bring your blade right up. We won't hit it, but all done. A lot snowier than when we left, that's for sure. Well, all done. That was a successful day. Went out, got the hill all packed down, right to the point that we wanted it to. Now we got to just wait for it to set up a little bit. And then we're back out at it again, doing another groom to get it all ready for opening. So, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and have a good one.